Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. For our third keynote speech, let us welcome Executive Director Michel de Rosario of the Center for Information Resilience and Integrity Studies. 欢迎各位回到会场。在今日第3场专题演讲中，我们非常荣幸邀请到资讯韧性与诚信研究中心 Michel de Rosario 先生为我们分享，让我们掌声欢迎。
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Has everybody had lunch? It's a little bit low, so bear with me. Distinguished colleagues, esteemed guests, and fellow advocates for a secure and stable Indo-Pacific, good afternoon. I am Michel del Rosario, Executive Director of the Center for Information Resilience and Integrity Studies in Manila, the Philippines. It is an honor to stand before this gathering of leaders, experts, and partners who share a common vision: a free, open, and resilient maritime domain anchored in the rule of law, mutual respect, and enduring cooperation. I am deeply grateful to the organizers of the Taiwan International Ocean Forum for convening this important dialogue at a time when the seas that connect us are increasingly tested, not only by visible challenges such as territorial incursions and illegal fishing, but by an insidious tide, the deliberate spread of disinformation, misinformation, and malign influence, or DMMI, that seeks to divide our nations, weaken our alliances, and erode the maritime security and cooperation frameworks we have built together over decades. Today, I want to speak to you about how the People's Republic of China's DMMI operations manifest in the Philippines and the wider Indo-Pacific, how they threaten the fragile trust and cooperation essential for harmonizing regional maritime security and cooperation, and what we as like-minded countries and Indo-Pacific partners must do to counter this corrosive force together. In the Philippines, as in many Indo-Pacific nations, the maritime domain is more than a matter of resources or transit lanes. It is existential. Our coastal communities, our fishermen, our entire archipelagic lifeline depend on a stable, predictable maritime environment. Yet, even as we contend with physical incursions in our exclusive economic zone, whether through gray zone tactics or aggressive paramilitary presence, we face an equally potent but less visible threat: the distortion of facts, the manufacture of narratives, and the manipulation of public sentiment. The People's Republic of China's approach to influence operations is neither new nor accidental. It is a calibrated, state-driven strategy that integrates cognitive warfare, a societal infiltration, and media and digital manipulation to shape perceptions, sow discord, and deter collective responses. In the Philippines, we see these manifest in multiple forms, particularly the use of state-linked media and social media sock puppet networks to push false narratives about the West Philippine Sea and the 2016 Arbitral Award, reframing illegal incursions as, quote, historic rights, or branding legitimate bilateral and multilateral maritime activities with like-minded partners as, quote, provocations. The harassment and vilification of our journalists, fisherfolk, civil society leaders, and government officials who speak out about foreign maritime aggression, and the amplification of fake local voices, paid influencers, troll farms, and pseudo-academic opinion makers to discredit government initiatives that seek stronger security partnerships with the United States, Japan, the United Kingdom, Australia, and other like-minded states. These tactics are not confined to my country alone. We have seen similar information operations across the Indo-Pacific, here in Taiwan, in Japan, Vietnam, and beyond, all designed to weaken trust in our institutions and leaders, fracture unity within our countries and our region, and hamper the evolution of a coherent regional and international responses. So why does this matter? Because at its core, maritime security and cooperation depends on shared understanding and collective will. When disinformation distorts facts, it erodes the public's grasp of international law, maritime rights, and our country's obligations to uphold the international rules-based order and deal with each other in good faith. When misinformation misleads, it saps political capital from leaders who must make difficult choices to strengthen alliances or expand security and defense partnerships. And when malign influence exploits local and regional grievances and discontent, It can pit segments of society against each other, or worse, against partners and allies, corroding the domestic consensus that needed to participate in joint maritime activities, coordinated capacity building, and integrated maritime domain awareness. This is how the PRC's DMMI operations become force multipliers for its gray zone maritime strategies. They do not fire a single shot, yet they can paralyze decision-making, stall multilateral agreements, and keep the region, and indeed the world, fragmented. The effect is to render our collective deterrence weaker than the sum of its parts, and to ensure that when harassment occurs at sea, the regional international response is hesitant and disjointed. So how do we, as like-minded countries and Indo-Pacific partners, respond? First, we must acknowledge that countering DMMI is not solely the work of information or communications agencies. It is an integral component of national security and maritime security strategy. It must be mainstreamed in how we plan, train, and operate. Second, we must invest in whole-of-society resilience. In the Philippines, we are learning, often the hard way, that a credible pushback against malign influence relies on a well-informed citizenry, robust local journalism, and trusted channels of truth. We must protect journalists, amplify credible voices in our communities, and disrupt the online echo chambers that enable foreign disinformation to metastasize. Third, we must strengthen information sharing mechanisms within our region. Just as we conduct coordinated maritime activities, we must pursue coordinated counter-disinformation efforts. Timely sharing of threat intelligence, exposure of coordinated inauthentic networks, and joint attribution of state-sponsored information attacks. Here, Taiwan's experiences and innovations are instructive. Taiwan has become one of the world's most targeted societies for foreign disinformation and interference. Yet, it has developed some of the most innovative and robust public-private mechanisms, from fact-checking networks to civic education, to inoculate its people against falsehoods. We in ASEAN, the Indo-Pacific, and across the globe must learn from this, adapt best practices, and together forge communities of trust. Fourth, we must recognize that countering the MMI requires harmonized messaging. Too often, when one country is targeted, others remain silent or neutral, fearing political or economic repercussions or reprisals. But silence emboldens malign actors, and neutrality only benefits the aggressor. A single coordinated regional voice rooted in shared principles of freedom of navigation, rule of law, and transparency sends a powerful signal that our maritime domain and our information domain are not open for coercion nor manipulation. Remember, today it is them, tomorrow it may be you or me. In our common maritime space, we stand not merely as individual states sharing in and enjoying the bounties of our waters, but as partners safeguarding the integrity of the information ecosystem that shapes how our peoples understand and defend what is rightfully theirs. Our adversaries know that the battle for the seas is fought not just by coast guards or navies, but also by narratives. It is fought in the minds of our citizens, the credibility of our institutions, and the bonds and shared values that hold our regional and international community together. Therefore, our response must be equally holistic, rooted in trust, transparency, and the conviction that our shared future depends on our shared vigilance. To my colleagues and friends here in Taiwan and across our Indo-Pacific neighborhood, we have weathered storms before. We have seen coercion and intimidation, and yet we continue to stand firm for a rules-based global order where might will never make right. By confronting disinformation, misinformation, and malign influence with facts, solidarity, and democratic resilience, we can ensure that our maritime security and cooperation frameworks do not falter, but grow stronger and more inclusive. I pray when we all leave this forum with a renewed commitment that our seas remain open, our voices remain clear and united, and our partnerships remain unyielding in the face of those who seek to divide and isolate us from each other. Continue to resist. Thank you, and may our collective vigilance and cooperation safeguard our maritime commons for generations to come. 谢谢.
Thank you, Mr. Rosario, for your speech. 感谢 Del Rosario 先生的分享。